Welcome to Wellington's Wise Zone, a podcast dedicated to curate weekly sports conversations, be a constant sports hub for game changers within the community and the world. Back with another episode, getting to a lot of topics. Obviously, March Madness, Sweet 16. We also got NBA getting to the last part of the season, close to the playoff time, and also Travis Kelce 3-year deal with the Chiefs. That should be very interesting. I have a lot of questions about that. The restructuring of the contract. Is that going to actually be a 3-year deal, or is it going to just be because of certain logistics with it? But as always, make sure to follow Wellington's Y Zone on social media. Instagram, have the page up there. Also, TikTok, Wellington Burns, Facebook, X, YouTube. You can follow me there, Wellington's Wise on YouTube, and see some of my see a lot of the videos and content that I do. And more content is on the way. Have a lot of ideas coming up for some new concepts and things that I'm going to try to do to as we move forward with the show. And first off, definitely have to get to Arizona. Arizona 109-88. Their win last night. They just were dominant from the jump. Like no other way to put it. Dominant from the jump. Um, it was just an incredible offensive performance. Braden Burry scored 21 points. Fellow freshman Koa Pete added 21 as part of a record-setting bounce attack. And Pete said, "quote This is the most fun I've had playing basketball. Honestly, I love my teammates. Just seeing them be successful, it makes me happy. Then they find me as well." So Arizona really looks like a potent, probably the most potent offensive team right now. Just there's so many question marks you have when you're facing them. So many challenges you're going to have to deal with when you are facing Arizona. And I think for that part, that is something that any team that sees them, they're going to have to deal with a balanced offensive attack. Um, and they're going to have to deal with a high pace. So when you have that with Arizona, it's going to wear teams down. It's going to, I would say, almost be an imposer. They impose their will offensively. That's one of the strong suits about them, and I think that's something that has been a testament to what Arizona can do. The entire game because Ivan Karkanev also had 15 points. Jaden Bradley, Modijis Krivas, and Toby Waka scored 14 apiece. As the Wildcats became the first team in NCAA tournament history with six players scoring at least 14 points in a game. Everybody eats with this offense. In this team, everybody eats. It is a full course meal. Everybody is going to eat when it's Arizona. It's going to get distributed a certain way, a certain level where everybody can get involved. And so when you have that, um, yeah, it's going to be explosive. It's going to be very explosive, and I think when that happens, you're going to see a lot of nightmare scenarios for other teams facing them, and that's where it can get really scary. I also wanted to get to some of the other games as we saw Illinois over Houston, 3 seed being a 2 seed. Houston was a very popular pick, I feel as though. And David Merkiev had 14 points, 10 rebounds, and they really had a defensive concerted effort that really like bogged down Houston to a degree where 55 points, I mean, you hold them to that, you really did a stellar job, like an extremely stellar job. And I think with that, it was absolutely wasn't something I was expecting. I was expecting Houston to go further. I really was. I know a lot of people I had talked to said that they thought Houston would go at least um Final Four. A lot of them have them in the championship, winning it all. So definitely not a surprising element. I would say I'm more so kind of shocked Houston didn't go farther because Illinois is a really good team, obviously 3 seed, but Houston just didn't have enough in the gas tank to be able to take it further. And then you got Purdue beating Texas, and Kaufman Wren tips in the game winner, and they're able to beat the 11 seed. Texas was one of the teams that like you. There's always those teams when they get into like the teams that get into like the mix of the last teams in the tournament. There's always something about them where you're like they could be a problem. And Texas was that team. Like they were like actually frightening um for other teams to face because you're kind of like, man, like could this team go farther? Um what's the distance they can take this? And it goes down to the wire with them and Purdue. Go absolutely goes down to the wire, and Purdue was able to escape with a 79-77 win. And Iowa, Nebraska, 77-71. And like Iowa is after the win against Florida, they kind of are on this trajectory of like improbable win after improbable win. You know, Alvaro Vergara's converted a critical 3-point play. Nebraska only had four defenders on the floor. Ninth seeded Iowa continued its unpredictable run under first year coach Ben McCollum, and testament to them doing that in his first year and everything that goes along with that. It's a challenge. Um, it's not easy, and when you do something like that, you really have to be like on guard. Um, and just know what your identity is. I think Iowa knows what their identity is. They really do. And I feel as though they are the type of team that I was gonna say Texas was a Cinderella team. Obviously, Texas being out now, Iowa looks like more of that Cinderella team that can go further, that can really possibly make an upset run or a Cinderella run, as we like to say in March Madness. They are that type of team that looks like the one that can do that. And Nebraska, they took an early 10-point lead against the Big Ten rival. Iowa tied it four times, but never led until Serge buried the three-pointer to make it 68-65 with 2:10 to go. They were neck and neck the entire game, but couldn't take extra that extra jump or leap to get that type of lead. So when they did it, my goodness. No looking back after 2:10. No looking back after 2:10. And very, very impressive win right there. And obviously, um 40-39 St. John's Duke halftime. I'm concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very concerned because as you know, I'm a Duke fan. And like if I'm giving like my brief analysis on this game, Duke is giving up too many threes. They're giving up way too many threes right now as we speak. Way too many threes. And I think St. John's um is really good at turning the ball over, turnover machine. And we have to look at me saying we look at me saying we as if I'm a part of the Duke chairman board. But Duke has to have a more concerted effort to take care of the ball and to actually have efficient possessions and not rush so much. I think sometimes that they rush. I think Evans has been really a lifesaver in keeping them in this game, but they can't rush. This is a team that cannot rush, and they really have to take their time and their progression in what they are doing because it's St. John's is for real. St. John's is absolutely for real. Alabama, Michigan, Alabama 38-33 currently with 5 minutes left in the first. Michigan State, UConn coming up. I think that's going to be a great game. And then Tennessee, Iowa State. So a lot of good games currently under the deck for March Madness. And yeah, best time of the sports here to me when you get these teams battling it out, duking it out. No pun intended, but I definitely think this is a great time of the year. So I also for the NBA, I wanted to get to Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is able to pass Michael Jordan for fifth in the all-time scoring list. And I did a video on Wellington's Y Zone social media about what I thought about KD being able to surpass MJ. And really, my thoughts were how effortless he makes this is the crazy part. Like, KD really makes scoring at an elite level look like something that is just mundane, regular, regular schmegular, just type of deal. Like he can just do it at any point. So when he is able to do that, I think some people take it for granted and they're just like, well, of course he can do it. You know, um, obviously, like that's what KD does. And I think KD is top 15, top 20 player of all time in that category. And he really has a knack for just putting the ball down, putting the ball through the hoop. Like he just got a knack for doing that. No matter where on the court, he is going to be able to knock it down and can score in a plethora of ways. Can score just so effortlessly. Um, so when I think of that, I'm like, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's not easy. It's not something that is run of the mill to me. And I know we talk about eras. We talk about whether it be, um, you know, the 90s, and it was some people say it was tougher. I get that. I understand that. But I think records are meant to be broken. List, there are people that are supposed to surpass you in list. So when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, KD should be able to do that because KD is easy money sniper, a scoring machine, one of the best, as good as it gets. And you got to give him credit for that. So I also wanted to get to OKC and Boston. OKC and Boston for sure because they had a game this past Wednesday. I think it was this Wednesday or Tuesday. I want to get it absolutely correct. Yes, it was Wednesday. Boston is able to win 119 to 109 and potential NBA Finals preview, maybe. You never know with how things go in this league. And I, for one, feel as though Boston is overachieving to a degree I wasn't expecting. They're completely overachieving. Boston is such a well-oiled machine coaching wise and how they're able to function at a high level, at a high clip, and then reintegrate Jason Tatum back in the mix. I think that is just exceptional, exceptional work. So when I see that, I'm like, they could go. I still have them as the favorites in the East. Still would pick them as the favorites in the East, the team I like the most in the East. And and yeah, like Mazzulla is one of those coaches who really knows how to keep things running, even when you don't have your best player. Now you can make a case, maybe it's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, he should be in that MVP mix. I definitely think he should be. Has to be in the MVP mix. He is the player who is to me, 2.0 Kawhi, very similar, very good two-way player, can do both things on both sides of the court. All of that is very knowledgeable of being able to do multiple things. So when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, he could do that. Jaylen Brown can do multiple things on the court and really put himself in that MVP consideration. He absolutely can do that. I also wanted to get into the Lakers. The Lakers, they are currently the third seed, and it's interesting. But before I even get to the Lakers, I wanted to say Minnesota and Houston, their game the other night, where Minnesota comes back from a 13-point deficit in overtime, Andrew, which is wild. to be able to do that. Um, and it's kind of bizarre that they did that because like Houston does not have the same level of chemistry and just knowing each other well that I thought they would in these types of situations and moments. And maybe I should have known that when we got Fred VanVleet out, a veteran guard who I think could have like really calmed them down and just been a floor general. That doesn't happen, you know. So Houston has some serious things to work out. Serious things to work out because when you don't really know yourself, you don't have the identity that you should have. Um, look, I fully think that is something that is a concern. It's a concern because when you're getting to the postseason and they're like the 6 seed and then got the Lakers the 3 seed, you know, I would trust the Lakers more in that matchup. Um, and I would say because even though the Lakers are not at the same pace or the same rate that San Antonio or OKC is, I think they are actually they know each other better and trust each other more than Houston does. Houston does not trust each other the way that I feel as though you should around this time of the year. When you're about a week away from April, you're trying to get into final playoff form and you really don't know who you are as a team in terms of like tight game situations. That is something that is very alarming. Absolutely alarming. So um I would say that Houston has a lot of work things to work out. They have in terms of chemistry, in terms of knowing each other better. Because I mean, like at this point, you should know each other better. You absolutely should. And it's just not there for them. So um, that's my thought on the Rockets, San Antonio, and OKC. I think Wembenyama should be MVP, and it's nothing to take away from Shea. But I think Wemby is the guy this year. When I think of what he's done, um, you know, the height, the agility, um, the shots, all of those incredible nuances of his game are just so different. And he's accelerated San Antonio to a pace of like, yo, they're already second seed in the West in his like second season, I think. So, um, yeah, wild, absolutely wild. I want to say this is Wembenyama's second year, I believe it is. Okay. Um, actually third season. So, but because he became this youngest player in NBA history to average at least 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks in a season. Oh my goodness. Like just casual statistics right there. Come on, Wembanyama. So yeah, that is my thoughts on that part for the NBA. I'm gonna get into some NFL topics in the second half, and I'll be right back.